Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Another month has passed, so it means that it's time for my monthly fragrance haul video. Or in other words, in this video I'm going to show you all the fragrances that I acquired in this past month of April. In April I acquired a total of 7 fragrances and I'm going to get the cheapies out of the way first, and I'm going to start with a few fragrances from the house of Armaf. The first one is the Armaf Nuit. Now, of course, for those who don't know, this is a clone of Creed's Green Irish Tweed. It's one of the most famous clones of Green Irish Tweed, along with the David of Cool Water. It's pretty similar to the original fragrance, although this, for some reason, to my nose, comes a bit more sort of a herbal, but other than that, it's quite close to the original scent. I'm yet to give a proper wearing to this fragrance. And I need to do that because I think that the springtime is exactly the right time to wear a Très Nuit. The second Armaf fragrance that I acquired in April was the Armaf Radical Brown. Now this one has surprised me quite pleasantly. This fragrance is sort of close to many other fragrances, mainly Parfum de Marly's Herod, but also it's in the same realm as Pure Havana from Mugler, Spice Bomb Extreme, Bulgari Men in Black. You get a nice mix of some cinnamon, some spices, some tobacco, lavender, a slight hint of incense in here as well, sweetness from an amber note, vetiver, quite a lot going on. It's nice, sweet and dark fragrance. I've given this one a few wears already and I've really enjoyed it. I'll do a few more wears of this one before I do a full review, but so far I've been really happy with the Armaf Radical Brown. So that was the second fragrance for April that I acquired from Armaf, the Armaf Radical Brown. And the third Armaf fragrance, third and last Armaf fragrance that I acquired in April was the Club de Nuit Iconic. Now this is another very pleasant surprise for me. This fragrance was very hyped up when it was released at the end of last year, but I really wanted to try it out before, giving up into the hype, and I can safely say that this indeed is a great fragrance. Now people say that this is a clone of Bleu de Chanel EDP or EDT. To my nose, it's not exactly a clone of any of those two fragrances. It's sort of a inspired by them fragrance. It's closer to the EDP to my nose, but it doesn't feel as fresh in the opening. I would say maybe in the opening it's like 65-70% close to the Bleu de Chanel EDP, but on the dry down it gets quite close with that sweet, woody, spicy mix that you get with the original. This one I think is a bit sweeter. The other good part about this fragrance is the fact that it really performs. It performs really well. It has really strong projection. The staying the power or the longevity on skin is quite a lot better compared to the original one. Very pleasant surprise from my purchases in the last month was the a fragrance from the house of Ajmal, the Ajmal Evoke Midnight Edition. Now this fragrance, I saw a review which was done by Joy Amin quite a while back, a few months ago. That got me interested. I was looking for this fragrance online. I was finally able to find it for a good price and I pulled the trigger, and I was very pleasantly surprised by this fragrance. Now this is not a clone of anything. This is an original Ajmal creation and they've done a really nice job. It's a blue fragrance that has a very interesting mix. There's some fruity opening, there's a raspberry note, an orange note in the opening, there's some spiciness from a pepper note. Then on the dry down you get a bit more spiciness from a saffron note, a cardamom note. There's quite a strong violet note in this fragrance as well. And then on the deep dry down you get a nice powdery sweet base from an tonka bean note and some dirty sort of earthy patchouli note. I'm done with the Middle Eastern cheapies in this video. Next I'm going to show you a couple of designer fragrances, and I'm going to start with a designer cheapie from the house of Jacques Bogart, the Bogart pour Homme. Now of course this is quite an old fragrance that was launched all the way back in 1990 if I'm correct. I did a bit of a research before pulling the trigger on this one, and people were comparing this to Thierry Mugler's Pure Havana, and now that I have this fragrance and I have the Pure Havana one, I can definitely say that there are some similarities. Now they're not like clones of each other or very close. And some people say that this fragrance was the inspiration for Pure Havana, and I can see why. Especially on the dry down, they're quite similar. This one has a nice lavender bergamot opening. Then on the dry down, you get some rose, you get some tonka bean, some patchouli, some cedar as well. Very nice, very interesting mix. I've been really enjoying this one on the couple of wearings that I've given it so far. Performance is pretty good, at least you know the staying power on skin. Projection has been a bit on the softer side, at least for the moment. I will give this one a few more wears, but the other thing apart from the scent profile that I like about this fragrance is the fact that it has a really low price tag, like almost all Jacques Bogart fragrances. So the fifth fragrance for the month of April was Bogart for Homme. The sixth fragrance for the last month was the Armani called Profumo. Now this fragrance I think has been discontinued, so I was on the lookout for a bottle of this one. I found a good deal, I pulled the trigger, and what can I say, I'm quite happy with this fragrance. To my nose and in my opinion, this is all about the powdery tonka, sweet powdery tonka bean on the dry down. Of course there are some other notes. You have an apple note, a cardamom note, an orange note in here, some lavender, some nutmeg, some additional sweetness from an amber note. There's also some leather in here. But again, as I said, to me this is all about the sweet powdery tonka bean on the dry down. Really nice dense fragrance. I think it will work fantastic in cold weather and especially at night. Also I think this can be a fantastic choice for a date night fragrance. The sixth fragrance for the month of April for me was the Armani called Profumo. And the last fragrance, the seventh fragrance that I purchased in the month of April was the Essential Parfums Bois Imperial. Now this fragrance really surprised me. I read quite a few positive reviews about this one. I watched a few videos. I found a good price on this one. I pulled the trigger, and this fragrance totally blew me away. So far in this year, in 2023, this has been one of my best discoveries, probably the best discovery of the year so far. It's a very interesting fragrance, very unique scent profile. It's mainly woody, but there's also some fresh notes in here, some herbal notes, some spicy notes, some sweet notes, some earthy notes. As I said, really interesting fragrance. Quite hard to explain this one in front of a camera to someone who has never smelled it. And so guys, in today's video I showed you all 7 fragrances that I acquired in the month of April. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, stay safe, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye bye.